what's up? Welcome to Winners on a Wednesday. My name's Samuel Leeds. I'm a property investor and I train and help hundreds and thousands of other people to become property investors. And on this week's Winner on a Wednesday, I have Ange Cherry. She's a pub owner and she's been doing that for almost a decade now. And now she's transitioning into becoming a property investor and entrepreneur. So Ange, welcome to Winners on a Wednesday. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good, thank you.
So you've been running a really successful, what's the name of your pub?
The Broomfield Tavern in Coventry.
The Broomfield Tavern, and it's like an award-winning pub. Loads of really, really good reviews. And you've been doing that now for almost a decade.
Yeah, frightening.
How is it? How is the pub business doing right now?
It's dying.
Yeah.
It's dying. So obviously before COVID, people were starting to find it quite difficult. My old boss, when I worked in a pub, said it's not like the 1980s where, it was a license to print money. So now it's really a question of, you've got to think outside the box. You've got to find your niche. And that's what I did with my partner.
You've been saying this since before the pandemic. You've been saying this for the last year or two. That you think that the pub business is a dying business.
Yeah.
The government don't want it.
Nope.
I mean, I sometimes wonder when I go out for a pint, and I'm at a pub, I'm just like trying to work out how they're making money. I mean, it's tough.
It's really tough.
You have been adapting like crazy.
Yeah.
How have you been doing that? What have you been doing? And then we're going to talk about what you're doing in property.
Okay, so we won 16 awards in the last 9 years from the campaign for Real Ale. We then extended our range from just not ales to ciders as well. And we had the most ciders in Coventry from as many different sort of cider producers as possible, which made it interesting. We then got people travelling from all over the country to come to our pub and see it. So that was really good. But we found that it's still very, very difficult to make money in the pub trade now more than ever. And obviously then COVID hit. In the first lockdown, we thought, right, okay, we're locking down today. What are we doing to make money tomorrow? So in March, we decided that we were going to do takeaway. So I ordered in 200 odd cartons, 2-pint cartons from a fabricator, and they delivered it, and we started selling pints, both ales and ciders. So people were really happy. My customers were over the moon. We got lots and lots of people saying thank you very much. And then the second lockdown, I said, well, my competitors must be doing that, so let's take it a step up. So then we started doing delivery. Unfortunately, my competitors didn't do that, which I don't understand. So we're still the only pub in the area that's really selling pints by the...
What are they doing then? Are they just closed?
They're just closed. There are a few that are doing takeaway food. I think one does pizzas and one does something else. So they're surviving on the food side of things.
So you're
but the wet-led pubs, I don't know what they're doing.
So you are really adapting the best you possibly can. You're working hard. Are you making profit?
No. We're keeping our head above water. It's paying a few bills, but it's not what we used to sell. So, it's not nearly
What's the future for the pub business? Like when the pandemic finishes, do you think that it's going to be booming again?
I think it'll boom for a short time afterwards when people sort of break out. They're gonna leave the pandemic. It's going to be sudden immense freedom, and they're all going to hit the pubs and the clubs and whatever's open.
I mean, what really annoyed me was when they said, Boris Johnson announced, and he said, oh, we're going to allow pubs to open over this week of Christmas. And it's almost just like, oh.
There's the carrot, take it away.
Yeah, I know. But even then, even when he said we're going to do it, I was just thinking, as if the pubs are even going to want to. Because it's like, you know what? No, you can't just use us. Like, now you close, now you open, now you close. But then they're changing the goalposts.
It's the daft rules that went with it. So, and in my opinion, I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody else, but in my opinion, they're the most stupid rules going, and I could talk about it for hours. But I'll just simply say this. You allow a pub to open until 10 o'clock, and then everybody has to leave at bang on 10 o'clock, or you might get hit with a £10,000 fine. Okay. The problem is 24-hour licensing was brought in so that people disperse at different times. Now, when it first started, everybody was standing outside the pub, and there were loads of them, and they were so close, and you thought, well, tell me that's not a recipe for COVID. They're not going to catch it in the pub, but they're going to catch it when they're outside because they're not dispersing at different times. The other thing is there was a rumour, I think it was Scotland, the pubs can open, but they can't serve alcohol. What would you like me to serve? Milkshakes? The rules are so stupid. They're arbitrarily being created, but it doesn't seem like actually anyone's thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I think the pub trade is going to be hit so hard. The amount of pubs that were closing before COVID, now it's going to be astronomical.
So you just thought, forget this, I'm joining Samuel Leeds Academy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you joined the academy.
Yeah.
How did you enter into the world of property investment? I mean, I know you're a pub owner. You bought the pub 2011?
No, I bought it 2014.
Okay.
We did okay from it. We were pulling a rent from it and we were happy with that. I used to flip properties as a hobby. I used to live in them and turn them over when I was working full time. So I knew I was comfortable with that. And one of your strategies is BRR, and I love that strategy.
Yeah.
But when I joined the academy, my eyes were suddenly open to all the other strategies that are out there and things I'd never even heard of before, like rent to rent, where you can create something out of nothing with none of your own money. I mean, that blew my mind. That was amazing. So yeah, I really...
And you've done some interesting things which we'll talk about over the last few months, where you've basically set yourself up financially for life.
Yes.
Which is incredible.
Yes.
So you've, I mean, for a start, talk to me about what you're doing with the pub and how you have used the strategies in terms of, you know, the development strategies, and talk to me about what you're doing, because it's incredible.
Okay. So the pub's got a really, really big garden, and it is still a little bit derelict and run down. So before COVID, we were taking the money and we were slowly renovating the pub. But people think, oh, you know, why haven't you just done it? Well, the problem is it takes a lot of money and time. And when you're open 15 hours a day, you don't have the time to do it. And then, of course, it's late at night. You can't because your neighbours are there. And obviously we're surrounded by a residential area. So when we came to thinking about it, my partner and I were talking. Obviously, we weren't trading for half of the week because we weren't doing the deliveries and takeaways. And we said, well, what can we do? And we kept coming back to our back garden, which used to be used for a long time ago. It was used as a court. Now it's just a garden. And it's a bit of a dumping ground. And we thought, what a wasted space right next to the city centre. What could we do with it? And my partner was genius. He came up with, why don't we develop it? And I thought, you know, it's so obvious. But had I not done the academy, I wouldn't have thought outside the box and said, well, how do we develop it? I'd have just said, yeah, build a house. Whereas now we're thinking, well, what's the maximum profit we can pull from it? So we decided we'd get planning permission for commercial units. Now I thought, well, how do I go about getting planning permission? I've never done that before. So after what we did on the academy, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to phone a couple of architects and find out. And the first architect was brilliant, told us what we could do, came out, viewed the property, did a few sketches. And before we knew it, yeah, we've got planning permission for 5 commercial units on our back garden.
That is incredible.
Brilliant.
And not only are you going to be able to, you know, obviously add value to the pub doing that, but that's going to give you an extra revenue
Rental
stream.
income,
So
yeah.
how much revenue will that produce each month? Cash flow profit.
Cash flow profit, we're looking about 2 to 2.5 grand.
That's incredible.
Well chuffed with it.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I mean, and that's you know, it might not sound like a great deal, but
they're small units, and it's in addition to the pub. So it basically helps the pub. If the pub still struggles, we've still got money coming in. If we come out of a lockdown, we've still got money coming in. So it's looking, you know, it's really good for the pub either way, because it's on the pub's, you know, land. So yeah.
But you've also been going like crazy doing other stuff. You've just bought a property in Cleethorpes. Yeah. Tell me about the story, how you found it, what the situation is with that, because that's an incredible deal.
So I was looking, and I was really pumped after the academy, my first couple of courses, and I was looking all over the country, and then I decided on Grimsby. I didn't like Grimsby, so I moved to Cleethorpes, it's got an award-winning beach, and it's a really nice little town. So I started looking, checking the figures, making sure it works, and found that actually it works for rental, it works for quite a lot of things, and I found a property there that has 2 flats. It's been split into 2 flats, but it wasn't done properly. So I decided to talk to my partner and just go for it. So we've pretty much bought it now, and we're just waiting for completion. And we're going to title split it. Now, it was originally going to be a BRR project. And when I looked at the property, it'd been on the market for 19 months. And I said to the estate agent, right, I'm going to book a viewing.
Yeah.
And I looked at the photos and I thought, I can see why it hasn't sold. The photos, it looks a bit dingy. Went to see it.
You asked the estate agent, you're like, does it smell?
Does it smell?
Yeah. It looked like this disgusting property, right?
Yeah. It's like you say on the academy, you know, there's loads of landlords there that are actually quite amateur, even though they've got a lot of properties, they're quite amateurish about it. And it turned out that the landlord had refurbed the property, new carpets, painted the walls, new kitchens, but he'd never updated the photos.
So when you got
the
there,
properties on either side are selling for 86 and 90 grand, and I've picked this property up for 76.
so why on earth would the owner not update the pictures? That's crazy.
It's mental. I don't know why.
So his property's not selling.
Nope.
And he's thinking, oh, I might have to up the price. No, you have to change the pictures.
Change the pictures, yeah.
So you picked that up for £76,000.
Yes.
It's already in good condition.
It's in good condition.
So what's the plan with that? You're going to just title split that? So
I'm going to title split it.
So the landlord, no disrespect to the landlord, but he's been doing it all wrong. He's got the wrong pictures. He's failed to title split it properly.
Yeah.
So he's basically just made a mess of it.
Yeah.
You're going to come along with your knowledge.
With my knowledge.
You're going to buy it cheap.
Yes.
You're going to title split it into how many flats? 2. 2 flats. How many bedrooms are there?
The top one's 1 bedroom, the bottom one's 2 bedrooms.
Okay, but it's already operating as 2 flats.
It's already operating.
So what are the council saying about planning permission?
So when I phoned up the council before I put my offer in, I asked what the likelihood is of getting planning permission, and they had to go back to their microfiche because it had been made into flats about 40 years ago. Planning permission had been applied for, but he'd only satisfied one of the conditions. So they said I'd have to retrospectively apply for planning permission again. So the likelihood is it's going to be awarded hands down, but obviously it will take a little bit of time. I've got to get all the site plans and everything done. I might have to put soundproofing in, but we're not sure until it comes to it. But essentially, he just hadn't finished the process.
Yeah. He
just started taking the rent, which is fine, but then when he wants to sell it, which is now, cash buyers only, you can't mortgage it. So that's where I come in.
So you're going to, with a small amount of money, significantly push the value up.
Yes.
And then the plan is then to refinance it and pull your money back out.
Yes.
And just keep going.
Yes.
Incredible.
Recycle my cash.
Yeah, recycle your cash, which
Yeah.
again will bring you as well. Obviously you've got an asset, but then also you're going to be getting an income stream off the 2 flats from that as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, how does it feel now then to be, you're effectively full-time in property now?
I am.
A full-time property investor, how's it feel?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Genuinely awesome. And I could have tried it on my own, but I think I would have, at some point, it would have really smacked me in the face, like it did with that landlord. You know, he should have known better. He should have done better. I think the most important thing, whatever you decide to do, is knowledge. You know, whether it's property with the academy or whether, I don't know, if you want to run a cake shop, you've got to know how to make cakes. You know, you've got to have the knowledge. And a lot of people just think, oh, that sounds good, let's do that. And they don't actually go out and get the knowledge. And you can't do anything without knowing exactly what you're supposed to be doing or employing someone who does if you can't, you know.
Was it a tough decision when the publicist isn't making great money, forking out the investment for the full Property Investors Academy?
Honestly, it was heartbreaking. I handed the cash over and I thought, have I done the right thing? Is it a scam? Have I done it right? Don't know.
Yeah. Because you watched all the Samuel Leeds Exposed videos.
Absolutely, yeah, of course.
And you showed your partner and you were working out.
Yeah.
What was going on in your head at this point?
So,
what do you think when you watched the Samuel Leeds Exposed videos? Like,
oh God.
Did your heart sink a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Was this after or before you bought the academy?
It was before.
Right. So
and then I watched a few more after and I thought, oh God, have I done the right thing? It's a lot of money. What have I done? Because being a publican, you don't have a lot of money. You might have done years ago, but now no. And we talked about it in depth. And my partner's very supportive. And he basically said, you know what, if you feel in your gut that it works and it's right, then do it. And I thought my brain's telling me perhaps slow down, and my gut was saying just do it. So I just went with just do it, because, you know, all through the academy you say take action, and I didn't take action as much as I should have done. And I now, a year down the line, think, God, I wish I'd been kicked up the backside sooner, because genuinely it's only the ones that take action that actually do anything. And you can have all the haters going, oh, you know, you haven't done this and this is all rubbish and how could you possibly do that? It's great to have the knowledge, but if you don't actually implement it, you'll never get anywhere anyway. I mean, I've got a degree. I haven't used it. If I use it, great, I could be, you know, in a 9-to-5 job in Europe somewhere earning lots of money, but I didn't do it because I thought, well, I haven't taken the action for it, so I did something else. But genuinely, take the action, you will do something, and you know, I'm a proof of that. I never thought in a month of Sundays I'd be sitting here in front of you. Yeah. So, yeah.
And you've had your own fair share of haters with your pub.
Oh, wow, yeah. Wow, yeah.
What's that been like?
So, obviously, you know, as a company owner, well, lots of companies, it's kind of tough at the top, and you find that whether it's a tiny company or a multi-million-pound company, people love to hate you, and the better you do, the more they want to hate you. But the thing is, if they were as good, they would they would have their own haters, and they would achieve. And I think at the end of the day, I think it's all an attitude and a mindset. Yeah. I'm prepared to be hated. I don't care. But I know that a lot of my customers absolutely love what we do. They love our products, from the pub side of things. And I think
but if you look at your ratings, they're incredible. Your awards, your reviews, it's the best in country.
I've taken customers home because they've left their cars outside because they've had one drink too many, and they think, better safe than sorry. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to catch the last bus. And I've actually taken them home in my car because I would rather see my customers home safe. I don't know many pubs who will do that with their customers.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
It's the personal touch. And my customers are my family. They put money in my pocket and pay my bills and put food on the table for me. But at the same time, they're the ones writing the reviews. And I think it's that personal touch. We've gotten so used to like the chain pubs, and we've gotten so used to like the big superstores, and that personal touch, I think, is missing, and people value it. Certainly people my age and older. You know, and with the academy, I thought, I'm never going to meet Samuel Leeds. And then I met Alistair. What a guy. I think he's my new guy on a pedestal. He's fabulous. He just says it as it is. And I appreciate that more than sugarcoating. I would rather know my failures and then say, right, but you could do this better, than just say, well done for what you've done. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's not well done, is it? It's rubbish. I've done badly. Yeah. So I'd rather that. But with the personal touch, it is a personal touch. He'll slap you on the back and say, do you know what? Well done. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and I appreciate that more. And I know a lot of people my age and older, exactly, they were brought up with that. And now this whole sort of standoff thing, that's what you get, off you go. I don't see that's serving your customer. I just don't.
It's the same though. I mean, we have our haters, but if you actually look at what our customers are saying, our students.
Your students,
I mean, you see them. You see you sit with them, and they're not only are they happy, but they're also doing deals. Yeah,
doing deals. And the thing is, I mean, I spoke to these. There's a few students I met who haven't done anything, and they've said, oh well, it really didn't work for me. Well, why didn't it? What did you do? Well, what do you mean? What did I do? Well, what did you do? What did you implement? Well, nothing. If you do nothing, then nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And those coaching calls and mentoring calls, I didn't really take them to begin with. And yet now it's like, every week I can phone and speak to a professional who knows what he's talking about, who can advise me. Do you know what? You can't go wrong with that. You've got advice on hand. The other academy members are in all walks of life. There's one academy member that I spoke to. He's done so many deals even before the academy, but he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
And the reason he's doing the academy is to develop his strategy base.
Yeah.
So you've got, even amongst the academy members, you've got people that are so knowledgeable and that can give you advice for free.
Yeah. And I think, ultimately everyone's on their own journey. You've got some people that, 2-3 deals to them is amazing. And then other people, they've already done 2 or 3 deals before they joined the academy. Now they're doing 20 deals a month. And there's a massive diverse mix. But what would you say has been the biggest kind of like breakthrough, aha moment, lesson that you've learned over the last sort of 6-12 months?
I went on the business of property investing.
Yeah.
And like I said, Alistair made us do an exercise, and there was a major light bulb moment when I sat there and I realised that actually my bar staff earn more than me.
Wow.
For the hours I do.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what's going on there? And he made me change my perspective on stuff, which obviously I can apply to the pub, but I can also apply to the property investing. And I've had quite a few light bulb moments since I started the academy, and it just kind of smacks you in the face, because at the back of your mind, it's fairly obvious and but you never actually bring it to the front of your mind and think, I'm actually going to implement it. You just think, it's just kind of, probably. But to actually do the figures and sit there and go, wow, for the hours that my members of staff do compared to the hours I do, I actually earn about 40p less per hour minimum wage. And I'm the business owner. What's that about?
It's interesting.
It's thought-provoking. And I think a lot of this academy, a lot of it is new strategies that you learn, but a lot of it is actually look at yourself, what can you improve, and pull the best out of you, which is what the trainers are there for. They pull the best out of you.
Yeah. And again, it's not, you've been mentioning other people like Alistair and other members of the academy.
Oh yeah,
it's not
they've
just
been fabulous.
It's not just me. I mean,
no.
I'm obviously
you're the inspiration, and you're the one that sort of sets the ball in motion.
Yeah.
But then since I've met all these other people, it's made me realise that actually there's a whole world out there of people who can help you and support you, and they don't want anything for it. They don't care.
Yeah,
They're on their own journey.
That's what it is. It's a world that you get introduced to. And I mean, as well, after you did the crash course, you were out viewing houses and they didn't quite work for you.
No.
And you did nothing with them.
No.
And then later on you realised on the academy.
No.
Well, tell me about that.
So I did the crash course. It was super motivating. I then joined the academy, did my first academy course. And I was like, right, I can do this. And I could. The problem was I still had that little voice talking to me saying, well, are you sure you can do it? You sure it's not a scam? And I found all these deals and they were way over 25%. And I was thinking, that's a good deal. Return on investment. Wow. They were massive deals. And then I'd look at them and I'd talk to my partner and he'd say, look, you do what you think is right. I'll support you. And I'd look at them some more. And then I'd pick up the piece of paper, scrumple it and chuck it in the bin and go, well, I don't want to look at Derby. It's too far away. And then I'd pick up Birmingham and go, it's a bit expensive, and chuck it away. And it's like, I realised after I'd done all the co-deal sourcing and deal sourcing that actually I threw thousands of pounds in the bin that would actually have helped me on my journey faster. So yeah, don't take anything lightly. Yeah, because it's like money down the drain. It really is. It really was. Yeah. Everyone should be a deal sourcer. Whether you've got money, you haven't, whether you should be a deal sourcer if you're in property. Yeah. What's been your favourite programme? Did you like the deal selling masterclass? I did. That's a real eye opener, and it's great because it's interactive. I've been on courses before, and it's like you start. But we get criticised for dance, the dancing. What we do. To be fair, I've got to say, when I first came on the crash course and we started clapping and dancing, I was like, this is really American. But then you explained that actually it's been scientifically proven to keep you a lot awake, and because they're really long courses, I mean. One of the courses I went on was like 8 o'clock in the morning registration. So you had to be awake and with it from 8 o'clock because you're networking. If you really want to work well, you're networking. 9 o'clock the course starts, then you finish at 10 at night. How on earth do you keep people awake all that time? And it works. I was as sharp at 10 o'clock as I was at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it really does work. The way that we teach, the accelerated training and coaching that we do, and people might take a snippet of like 30 seconds dancing on the stage or clapping and go, oh, this is what it's like. It's like, no, you moron. No. That's 30 seconds in between an hour and a half of bang, 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 bang content to keep you with it and ready. People miss it or try and find a reason, to discredit. I think I'd say if you're going to be a hater, that's entirely your choice. But actually find out about it. Don't just take other people's word. Just find out about it. Go on the crash course. Yeah. Because if I hadn't done the academy, I'd have still been able to do property. I just wouldn't have had the knowledge I've got now. Yeah. So, and it's certainly the start to something. You mean from the crash course alone? From the crash course alone, yeah. It's true. It's true. The crash course gives you all the basic, foundational, everything. It does. And then the academy, we assist you through it. We give you the further advanced training. What's your strongest reason for doing this? My son. My son is growing up now in a world that's going to be after COVID completely different. Now, I didn't know that at the time, but obviously now it's just a motivating factor. He's 7 years old. He's a miracle baby because, I was told at 18 I couldn't have kids, so I wouldn't have taken a pub on if I'd known I could have had a child. So now it's building up his future and making sure that I can retire relatively early and work when I want to work rather than because I have to, so I can be with him and my partner can be with him and we can just have a good lifestyle with him. That's great. Yeah. And what possessed you to take on the pub in the first place? It's like a big move. So as much of a nutshell as I can condense it into. I've never heard this. So I was a debt collector and then I went from debt collecting people's houses. It's not as bad as it sounds because actually you don't want to empty somebody's house if you can work with them. So I was actually very good at that. But I realised I wasn't earning enough money. So then I went into debt collecting for companies, which you earn a lot more money, but it's so boring. And then it got to the point where I thought, do you know what? I can't do this till I'm 70, 80 years old. I just can't. So I've always had a second job. Even when I reached sort of supervisory management level, I've always worked in a pub. Why drink in a pub when you can get paid to socialise in a pub and then drink afterwards? So I did that. So all the way through I had a second job and I thought, what am I good at? And I thought, well, I'm good at property, but I don't know enough about it. And I'm good at pubs and I know about that, so I want to take a pub on. And then it was just about that time I met my partner and he was super supportive from day one. And I found the pub, the Broomfield Tavern, took it on in 2011, just after the recession, and everybody said, are you nuts? Are you crazy leaving a good job to take on a pub that's been empty for like 13 months, no trade, no niche market, no nothing? You must be crazy. And I thought, do you know what, don't tell me I can't do something when I know I can, because I'll prove you wrong. And I did. And my partner and I worked hard, and we had some horrible moments. We had debt collectors at the door because the pub wasn't earning enough money.
Wow.
My dad died in 2014. It was a horrific year. But what came out of it is the final nail in the coffin was when the area manager for the brewery came to us and he said, look, I've got some bad news. So I thought, well, it can't get any worse than my dad dying. And he said, we're going to sell the pub because you're the 5th landlord not to make us money. And we've got a policy that if 5 tenants can't make money, we sell the asset. So I said, well, what's our options? And he basically said, you can either pack your bags and be jobless and homeless in the same hour, or you can buy the pub. Now, I had bad credit. My partner had bad credit. We had no way of basically getting a loan. So we thought, well, we're going to do it. There's a light there. We're going to take it. And we basically, I was phoning every financial company, commercial financial lending institution, trying to find out if there was anybody who'd lend us money. One said, yes, we can. They weren't worried about our credit rating because it was commercial, it was based on the property. But they said it's going to take 12, maybe even 16 weeks to push the deal through. And the pub company went, no, it's going to go in auction in 6 weeks. And we were like, how on earth are we going to get that? So we were talking about it. We were throwing every idea we could at it. We were trying to find out how much we could borrow from friends and family. And then one of my customers, who will always be a fairy godfather to us, came up to us one night and said, oh, I've got that sitting in my current account. Couldn't help but over here. And we were like, of course you have. You know, go have another drink. We'll see you another time, you know. He came back 4 days later. He wanted to speak to our solicitor, our bookkeeper. He had the money. He lent it to us over 10 years. That was in 2014, and in October of this year, which is 6 years later, not 10, we paid him off. Wow. So even during COVID, we managed to just about pay him off. So yeah, we were really chuffed.
What
really chuffed.
A story. You are a very special person.
Get on with it, do it.
Get on with it. And you bought the pub for 176,000 in 2014.
Yes.
You've been running it for 3 years.
Yeah.
And now it's worth how much?
Conservatively about 400,000.
But you're about to now build all these commercial units on it with
add
the
value
land.
to it. Yeah.
And push it. Incredible. You know what? It's been such a pleasure just seeing you, getting to know you, watching you blossom through your property journey.
Thank you.
And I mean, what would be your final piece of advice? Because I know you've had the skepticism, you've had the little voices, you've had
I've had everything.
Someone that's watching this is just thinking, I'm not sure, can I really do this? Struggling to believe in themselves, struggling to believe in the strategies or property. I mean, what would be your strongest piece of advice to them? Even if you haven't got the confidence, and you know you're not a very confident person, just take the plunge, because the confidence comes. And if you do the further training with the academy, by God, it comes in buckets, absolute buckets. You become so much more confident talking to people. I mean, I'd never had a problem phoning estate agents, but there were some people on the academy who were petrified of picking the phone up. Yeah. Now they're calling them like it's, you know, it's just a run-of-the-mill thing. And I think, yeah, the biggest thing is do the action, take the action. Yeah. You'll develop the confidence, and everything kind of falls into place. And you can't see that now. A lot of people can't see that now. I couldn't see it now. I thought, well, yeah, okay, you say get the deal and the money will come, but I don't see how that happens. It genuinely does. Yeah. Because if you find a deal that's worth it, you then have, well, you know it's going to work because it works on paper, you've done all your calculations. Well, then all it is phone a couple of brokers, compare what they offer, and then it starts rolling, the ball starts rolling. And then from there, you then have made contacts, whether you've made only one or whether you've made 21 contacts with the academy, networking, and that way you have the contacts that they might not be able to invest in you, but they might know someone who does. Yeah. So the money does come after us, and I didn't believe that. That was my biggest part of the skepticism, was like, I don't see how I can just put an offer in when I haven't got the money sitting there. Do you know what? It doesn't matter. Put the offer in. The money does come. Brokers go out of their way to help you because they need a fee, and at the end of the day, they know if you're an investor, then you're going to send more business their way if they're good. Yeah, so, yeah. That's so powerful. I think you just need a bit of faith sometimes, don't you?
You do. You need to stop listening to this little voice, because I listened to that little voice before I took the pub on, and I should have taken that pub on years ago in the boom time, not in the recession, so I knew what I was doing. I should have taken my my little hobby of property developing while I was working full time a lot further back then.
But we are where we are, and
We are where we are, yeah.
And you're smashing it. So thank you so much for coming and sharing the story. Folks, I hope you're feeling inspired. Please do me a favour, drop a nice comment below for Anne. She has absolutely smashed it. I'm really, really proud of her. Every single week, I keep doing this, and I'm going to keep doing it as well. This is a permanent thing. Every week, I interview one of my success students who have had their lives changed through my property investment training. So if you'd like to experience that training for free, come on to the crash course. That's where it all starts. I'll leave a link in the description below. Also, if you want to hear more interviews from people, you can check out a whole list. There's over 100 of these right here. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel over here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.